Okay, so you've seen them, right? QR codes are everywhere, popping up on TV, in the middle of a YouTube video, you name it. And for marketers, they seem like this magic bullet, a direct bridge from the big screen right to someone's phone. But here's the thing. So often, the results are, well, just disappointing. The performance isn't there, and it just leaves everyone scratching their heads. And yeah, that's the big question we're digging into here. Why do these campaigns, which seem so logical on paper, just fall flat so often? It's a super common problem, but the answer isn't what most people think. See, the problem isn't the QR code. The problem starts with a massive, fundamental shift in how we're all watching videos. And this number right here, this changes everything. Over half, let that sink in, over half of all YouTube viewing now happens on a TV screen. The platform we all thought of as a desktop or mobile thing is now, most of the time, a living room experience. And that one single fact is the key to unlocking this whole QR code paradox. Because of that huge shift, so many brands and agencies are just hitting the same brick wall again and again. You know the drill. The scan rates are terrible, the conversions you do get are all over the place, and trying to track attribution is a complete mess. And all of this leads people to the exact wrong conclusion. The QR codes just don't work on TV. But that's not the real story at all. So here's the crucial point. We're blaming the tool, not the strategy. The technology is fine. People know what a QR code is. They know how to use it. The whole thing breaks down because we are using old-school, web-based thinking in a totally new environment. It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. It's just not going to work. Which brings us right to the heart of the problem. We have to accept a very simple, very obvious truth. TV is not a website. It sounds so basic, right? But our marketing strategies forget this all the time. And understanding that difference in mindset, well, that's everything. Think about it like this. There are two totally different worlds. You've got the TV viewer mindset. You're kicked back on the couch, relaxed, just passively taking in some content. We call this lean back. Then you have the web browser mindset. You're holding your phone, you're actively searching, scrolling, tapping. You are lean in. You have intent. These are two fundamentally different states of being. And this is exactly where the strategy falls apart. We just kind of plop a QR code on the screen as if it's a direct replacement for a clickable link. But it's not. Doing that completely ignores where the viewer's head is at. They're in that relaxed, non-interactive mode. They are not primed to jump through a bunch of hoops for you. This leads us to the precise moment where most of these campaigns fail. We call it the conversion mismatch. It's that jarring moment, that clash between what the ad is asking someone to do and what that person is actually willing or able to do while chilling on their couch. We see this all the time. It's the scan-to-buy fallacy. It's this flawed assumption that just because someone was curious enough to pull out their phone and scan, they're immediately ready to buy something. But that's just not what's happening. The scan is almost always driven by simple curiosity, like, what's this? It is not a signal of take my money now. Let's just walk through this failed journey step by step. First, the viewer sees the ad, their interest is piqued, and they scan the code. But then, bam, they are immediately dropped onto a high-friction product page or a checkout form. Their first reaction is, whoa, I have to buy something? I don't even have my wallet. And just like that, they're out. The browser is closed, and that lead is gone forever. And this is the key. The interest was real. They were engaged enough to actually scan the code. But that interest just completely collapses the second a high-effort decision is forced on them, at the absolute worst possible moment, when they're in that relaxed, lean-back state. Okay, so if we know that's the problem, how do we fix it? Well, the solution starts with a really simple but powerful shift in how we think. It's about understanding the difference between a response and a conversion. On a website, these two things can happen seconds apart, but on TV, they are almost always two totally separate events. The response, that's the scan itself. It happens during the lean-back viewing, and it only signals a little bit of curiosity. The conversion, the actual purchase or sign-up, that signals high intent. And that almost always happens later, when the viewer is back in a lean-in mode on their own time. Trying to smush these two moments together is the central mistake we're all making. And when you make that mistake, you create this giant attribution gap. That tiny little slice you see, those are the direct conversions you can actually measure. The bigger slice is the lost attribution. People who scanned, left, but maybe remembered you later and bought something. You made the sale, but your TV ad got 0 credit. But that huge slice, the biggest one, that's all the abandoned interest. All the people who were curious but got scared off by a high-friction ask. That is pure wasted potential. So let's talk about the solution. Instead of pushing for a scan to buy, we need to embrace a save now, act later model. This approach is built from the ground up for how people actually watch TV. And the guiding principle here is really simple. Whatever you ask for right after the scan has to be incredibly light and easy, no friction. The goal is not to get a sale right then and there. The goal is to successfully capture that little spark of interest before it goes out. So let's replay that journey, but this time with the right model. Step 1, the viewer scans out of curiosity. Step 2, instead of a checkout page, they get a simple one-click option to save an offer to their phone's digital wallet, like Apple or Google Wallet. It's a frictionless save. Now, step 3 is where the magic happens. You've just created a persistent connection. Your brand is now literally living on their phone. From there, you can send a notification later on, and they can convert when they're actually ready. And the best part, you get perfect, clean attribution. And the difference in performance is just dramatic. The old scan-to-buy model gets you low scan rates and broken attribution. The new Save Now, Act Later model, on the other hand, leads to a much higher scan rate because the ask is so small, and it delivers clear, defensible attribution since you've maintained that connection all the way to the sale. And that really brings us to this powerful new way of thinking. We have to stop treating QR codes like they're shortcuts to a sale. Instead, we should treat them as infrastructure. Their job isn't to close the deal on the spot. Their job is to build a reliable bridge from a viewer's lean-back curiosity to their future lean-in intent. So, if you only take one thing away from all of this, let it be this. The single biggest strategic shift you can make is to stop trying to force TV to behave like a website. They are different mediums with completely different viewer mindsets, and they demand completely different strategies. So just to recap the most crucial points. First, remember that over half of YouTube is a lean-back couch experience. Second, you have to separate the response, which is just the scan, from the conversion, the sale. Third, design your entire journey around Save Now, Act Later. And finally, your main goal is to build a persistent connection that lives on long after that 30-second ad is over. Which leaves us with one last critical question to ask yourself about your own campaigns. Is your call to action built for the couch, or is it built for the computer? Because the answer to that simple question will determine whether your next TV ad soars or just becomes another frustrating statistic.